So before he was one of the biggest pop stars in the world, Phil Collins was a drummer's drummer, a musician obsessed with time, tone and texture. This is a story of when Phil Collins joined Brand X. So by the mid-1970s, Genesis were in a state of flux. Peter Gabriel had left, and the band, once known for those theatrical prog epics, were really in the process of reinventing themselves. Collins had stepped out from behind the drum kit to become the lead singer, while still holding down drums in the studio recordings. But Genesis's new direction was moving towards concise, song-orientated material. Now, for a drummer like Collins, with deep jazz and fusion roots, that just wasn't always enough. He'd grown up idolising players like Buddy Rich, Billy Cobham and Tony Williams. He craved the freedom and danger of improvisation, the kind of drumming you couldn't really do inside a 5-minute pop song. So when a group of London session players invited him to jam, he quite naturally said yes. Now, the band Brand X had begun as a side project. It was a loose collection of those top-tier British session musicians who were looking for a creative outlet for their work. Guitarist John Goodsall had played with Atomic Rooster and Gong. Bassist Percy Jones was a master of the fretless tone. Keyboardist Robin Lumley came from the world of pop production. Now, their shared goal was quite simple: no boundaries. So when Collins joined them in 1975, he wasn't there as that famous Genesis drummer. He was just another player in a room full of extremely talented musicians. But the chemistry was there, and it was immediate. They hit record, and the tapes captured something electrical, collision between jazz, rock, funk, and the technical precision of progressive rock. Their first album, Unorthodox Behaviour, was released in 1976. It's safe to say it didn't sell millions, but it was a musician's record, the kind that made other musicians stop and listen, particularly drummers. Now, in Brand X, Collins had found the freedom he'd been so badly missing. As I say, the formula was simple, but for Phil, there was no vocals and no lyrics, just groove and improvisation. That's all that was needed to make the magic happen. Now, their songs often shifted through complex time signatures, 7/8, 9/4, really just about whatever felt right in the moment. Collins's playing became much looser and more exploratory as a result. He was able to mix jazz finesse with rock punch, trading lines of Percy Jones's fretless bass like two instruments in a conversation. Take a listen to Nuclear Burn, if you will, and you immediately get that precision, the swing, the push-pull energy. It's the sound, really, of a drummer cutting loose. Compare that to the structured arrangements of Genesis. This was pure chaos. But it was beautiful, controlled chaos as far as Collins was concerned. Now, throughout 1976 and 1977, he balanced these two quite paradoxical musical lives. Essentially, by day, with Genesis, he rehearsed and recorded Wind and Wuthering, the last album with Steve Hackett on board. But by night, he was in the studio with Brand X, tracking Rock and Roll, which was the next album they released. This schedule was insane, but the contrast had the effect of really keeping him razor sharp. In interviews, Collins described Brand X as a kind of musical therapy. Genesis was structured, he'd said. Brand X was freedom. It also coincided with a time of immense personal turmoil for him. His marriage to childhood sweetheart Andrea Bertorelli was falling apart, and these long hours behind the kit offered him escape. Now you can almost hear it with the intensity and the release in his playing. Brand X never broke into the mainstream, but it was their influence that ran so deep. They were part of the British fusion wave that included players like Alan Holdsworth and Bill Bruford, musicians who were able to blur the lines between rock and jazz so well. For Collins, though, the experience left a permanent mark on him. That sense of space and dynamics he developed in Brand X can be traced directly into his later work. Let's take a look. From the thunderous drum sound of In the Air Tonight to the layered grooves of Face Value, even within Genesis, his rhythmic sense grew much more fluid. Tracks like Turn It On Again and Duchess really carry hints of that same precision and swing. Brand X were the laboratory where Phil Collins refined his sound, to great effect, I must add, as well. Now, when people think of him, they picture the pop icon, the love songs, the gated drums, those MTV years. But before all of that, he was a working drummer, chasing freedom in smoky London studios. For him, Brand X wasn't a side project, it was a window into who he really was. He was a musician first and a star second. And for a brief, brilliant moment, that sound of freedom, complex, restless, alive, was the sound of Brand X. Now, what are your memories of this band? For me, I remember vividly that appearance on the Old Grey Whistle Test, where they played And So To F. Truly magnificent. Check it out if you haven't yet heard or seen it. It's a wonderful piece of jazz fusion. Tell me your thoughts about Collins as a drummer as well, if you will. Just how good is he? How does he compare and rate against the very best? Like, share and subscribe if you enjoyed this video and found it useful. That would be really nice. You can donate to the channel to help me produce more videos like this. Details are in the description. So, until next time, keep listening, keep exploring, and remember, in the world of prog, the journey really never ends.